The conference room buzzed with chatter, but all eyes weren't on the screen. They were on Nia, a 26-year-old marketing assistant with soft brown skin and a perfectly picked-out afro. She stood at the front, laptop open, notes in hand, heart racing. "Is this a fashion statement?" sneered Amanda, a senior team member, whispering loudly to a colleague, not caring if Nia heard. "I thought this was a professional setting," another added with a smirk. Nia forced a smile and pressed ahead. "Today, I'm excited to present our new digital strategy for the next quarter." She'd worked night after night on this pitch. She knew her material, but the weight of judgment, the stares, the microaggressions, choked her confidence. They weren't criticizing her ideas. They were criticizing her hair. Someone actually coughed the word unprofessional. She swallowed hard, pretending it didn't bother her. But it did. Mia walked back to her desk. She could feel the tension trailing her like a shadow. Her ears caught the faintest whispers. She should have just straightened it. Looks like she just rolled out of bed. Laughter, quiet, but sharp enough to sting. She tried to focus on her screen, typing emails with robotic precision. But the echo of those snide remarks bounced around in her mind. Each key she pressed felt heavier, not from the work, but from the weight of not belonging. When lunch break came, Mia didn't join the others in the cafeteria. She slipped into the restroom instead, locking the stall door behind her. There, in the silence, she let the tears come. She pulled out her compact mirror and stared at her reflection. Her afro, full and proud just this morning, now felt like a spotlight for ridicule. She remembered her mom's words, "Your hair tells a story, Mia. Don't ever hide it." That memory brought a brief, bittersweet smile. As a child, Mia used to sit on a pillow in front of her mom every Sunday as she gently oiled and combed her curls. They would talk about the legacy of their hair, how her grandmother wore hers braided in patterns that once held hidden escape routes for slaves. Her hair was her crown. So why did it now feel like a curse? Outside the stall, she could hear the other girls laughing about a viral hairstyle video. One even joked, "That's probably how Mia gets her hair to poof like that." Mia clenched her jaw. Her pain was deep, but it was also fuel. She took a long breath, wiped her face, and stood up straighter. Something inside her whispered, "Hold your head high. This isn't over yet." The afternoon meeting was supposed to be routine, just a departmental briefing before the quarterly strategy session. Mia was assigned to present a small portion about the marketing analytics, something she'd worked tirelessly on all week. But as she walked up to the screen to plug in her laptop, she could still feel the silent judgment behind her. One coworker coughed out a laugh. Another nudged a colleague and muttered under her breath, "She's really going up there like that?" referring to Mia's natural afro, which she had refluffed and pinned with golden clips before walking in. It was subtle, but she saw the eyes roll, heard the stifled chuckles. She stood at the front, heartbeat loud in her ears. But just as she was about to begin, the door opened. In walked a tall black woman in a navy blue pantsuit, heels sharp against the tile. Her presence stopped the whispers cold. She didn't announce herself, but every senior team member in the room stood up immediately. Mia blinked. She recognized the woman from the company newsletter. It was Olivia Monroe, the CEO. "I hope I'm not interrupting," Olivia said with a calm authority. "I was hoping to sit in for a few minutes." The room buzzed with nervous energy. The tone flipped instantly. People sat straighter, smiled wider, and suddenly, no one seemed to care about Mia's hair anymore. But Olivia did. From the moment she entered, her eyes had been on Mia. Not judgmental, but observant. Encouraging. Mia hesitated only a moment, then began her presentation. And for the first time all day, she spoke without shrinking. She didn't just deliver numbers, she owned them. She stood in her truth, with her natural crown in full display, and as she spoke, the room listened. Especially Olivia. When the meeting ended, polite applause filled the room, but it was Olivia Monroe, the CEO, who rose from her seat and walked directly toward Mia. "You," Olivia said, with a soft smile that carried weight. "What's your name?" "Mia," she stammered. unsure if she was in trouble or about to be complimented. Olivia looked at her intently. Mia, you did that presentation like a pro. Clear, confident, smart. She paused. And I just have to say, your hair is beautiful. The room went silent. The same coworkers who had mocked Mia earlier now avoided her eyes. Some shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. One even forced a chuckle, as if pretending she'd never whispered anything cruel. But Mia stood a little taller. Olivia leaned in slightly, voice low but deliberate. You know, when I first started in this industry, I wore my hair straight every single day. Burned it, pulled it, fried it, just to make people take me seriously. She gestured to her own hair, natural coils styled into a sleek twist out. It took me years to realize that I don't need to change who I am to belong in a boardroom. And neither do you. Mia's eyes welled up, but she held it in. This moment wasn't about tears, it was about being seen. Olivia turned to the room. We need more young women like Mia in leadership. People with authenticity, backbone, and brilliance. I want her shadowing me next week, and after that, I'm recommending her for our leadership development program. Mia's mouth dropped open. Her co-workers' expressions morphed from smug to stunned. She didn't need revenge. She had recognition, respect. And the people who laughed at her before? Now they were clapping. But Mia didn't care for their approval anymore. She had found something better, her power. Mia stepped out of the boardroom that day with her head high, not because of the promotion, not because she'd silenced the critics, but because she finally felt seen. The following week, she shadowed Olivia Munro through executive meetings, investor calls, and decision-making rooms where there were rarely any faces that looked like hers. And yet, Olivia made space for her. Not just physically, but in spirit. One afternoon, as they walked out of a strategy meeting, Olivia turned to her and said, "You know what you did back there, Mia? You didn't just impress me. You reminded me why I fought to be in this position. So I could bring others up with me." Mia nodded slowly. That moment sealed it. She didn't want to just rise, she wanted to lift others too. Months later, Mia stood in front of a new group of interns. Many of them women of color, nervous, unsure if they'd fit in. She wore her afro proudly, her badge now reading, Leadership Associate. And when one intern asked nervously, "Is it okay to wear my hair natural here?" Mia smiled warmly and replied, "Not only is it okay, it's powerful." She had gone from being mocked to being a mirror of strength for others. And this was just her beginning.